Is it okay if I wear my hat?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Very informal. I have no makeup on. I almost never film without makeup.
Yeah, I usually don't film with makeup either.
So today, hey friends, Tiffany Dawn here. This is my husband, James.
Hey guys.
Who most of you know by now. And we're gonna talk about my favorite subject in the world, which is sex. Today we're talking about sex because actually it's our wedding anniversary today and we had decided that we wanted to wait until marriage to have sex. Today is the 2-year anniversary of the first time we got naked together, the first time we slept in the same bed. We didn't actually have sex that night because
Yeah.
it was a little harder to figure out than we thought.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a learning curve there for us.
But it was so special on our wedding night. I remember just feeling totally overwhelmed by like just the beauty and like miracle and just the closeness to you and the intimacy. And I just remember being like, there's so much beauty here.
It was very special.
It was so special. So today we want to share some things that we think are important for you to know about sex. So the first thing that I think is really important is to prepare your expectations, because in our world, I think it's easy to have one of two extremes. Like there's the Hollywood romantic view of sex where you're just like having it all the time and the girl's like loving every second of it every time, even though it's like the first time they've ever done it. And that's not really an accurate representation of sex, especially for a girl, especially the first few times. And then there's also the perception of like, we don't talk about sex in my home, like it seems like dirty or taboo or something that I should feel ashamed of, and then I get married and I still feel like guilty about it. That's another expectation that is like dirty or it's not going to be fun. That's also completely not true. We met this one young married couple who was 2 weeks into their marriage on one of our speaking trips.
Yeah, we asked the guy, what's it been like? And he's like, wow, when I got married, I figured we would have sex like 10 or 12 times a day. And I mean, his poor wife.
I think one of the big things is kind of getting some real expectations from real people. So one of the things I did when I was single, because I'm a weird person, is I would go and I'd ask my friends when they were married, be like, so tell me about your sex life. Not like details or like personal stuff, but just like, what is it like? Like, what should I be expecting? And that really helped me to develop some realistic expectations about sex. One of the things you can do now to prepare for a great sex life in the future is actually learning how to express yourself, like your likes and your dislikes, and being okay with saying that.
Like we had to learn to talk about, hey, I like when you do this, I like when you do that. Sometimes there's this perception that your partner is just gonna know the right thing to do, and that's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about anything you do with a person, playing a sport, doing a duet together with music, doing a dance with someone, there has to be communication, there has to be practice, and you're really not very good at it the first couple of times you do it. And that's totally normal. A person who truly cares about you as a person really wants to know what you like and don't like. But as a man, it is impossible to figure out what you like and don't like unless you use
your words.
You have to use words. We don't get hints. We have no idea what they are. So you need to use words.
Yeah. Tip number 3 is rephrase the wait. Sometimes it helps to just rephrase it from thinking about sex as something that's a no, and instead think of it as a wait. Because you don't want to think about sex as being dirty and like you're always saying no, 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 and then you get married and they're like, sure, go ahead, and you're like, but I've always said no. Like I feel so weird. And I know a lot of women who feel really guilty about sex. And there's no need to. God made it. It's beautiful. It's a gift. And so if you've decided to wait till marriage to have sex, try not to think about it as a no, and instead just think about it as a wait. The fourth thing is, don't take yourself too seriously. Like James was saying, it takes practice. You're gonna make mistakes, funny things are gonna happen, and you can just laugh about it, and it can be part of your intimacy with your husband. Like just being like, oh, that was so funny. I love that happened, and moving on.
Yeah, and one of the really special things about keeping sex for only being in a long-term committed marriage relationship is that you don't need to impress that person. Like I don't feel the pressure to, I just need to do everything right so I can impress her and she'll like me. It's not a show because we're committed to one another. We're gonna figure out how to have a really good time, and we're committed to working through the bad times, and that takes so much pressure off. One of the things that is kind of fun for us to do is we're trying to have sex in every state. So shortly after we got married, I had a business trip to New Hampshire, and we were staying in this really romantic bed and breakfast, and we were so excited, and we were like, we're gonna go get in the jacuzzi, and it'll be really romantic, and then we're gonna have sex. And we got in the jacuzzi, and it was really romantic. And then the hot water got to us, and we were like, wow, we feel so tired, even though it's only 9:15 p.m. And we drained the water, and we were like, there's no way. we can have sex. We just need to go to bed right now. And it was like really corny, and we were like, in that time we were kind of, because we were pretty newly married, we were pretty embarrassed.
We both felt a little bad.
Yeah, like, wow, we totally failed. But right now, it's just funny.
Just funny moments like that. It's like it just builds your sense of closeness and intimacy when things go wrong.
Yeah,
so you can just enjoy it.
And things do go wrong. So that's part of how it goes.
So one question that I've heard a lot from girls is, but what if my husband won't like me naked? So let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's not a thing. If you are married to someone that truly cares about you, that is married to you, has gone through planning a wedding, seeing you through up and down, believe me, if you are naked, they're interested. Everyone has issues with their own body. You know, are my man boobs too big? Am I too fat? I've been distressed recently because some of my dress clothes won't fit because I've gained a little bit of weight. You know, some days Tiffany feels great about how she looks, and some days Tiffany really doesn't like how she looks, and that's just a part of life. But as a husband, I don't care. I think it's all really hot. So believe me,
you show up naked, you're good to go.
Absolutely.
Show me the boobies.
Absolutely. You, the guy, are getting to have sex with the woman you love. That's it.
And now, briefly, let's talk about porn.
I would really encourage all girls to be very insistent that your partner not use pornography, because that will drain his sexual drive, his interest in you, his sex life. There's a lot of really good information on fightthenewdrug.org. Really, pornography is an addiction like heroin or alcohol. People get addicted to it, and it's like they literally can't help themselves.
And it does have a lot of really negative consequences in relationships. Like a lot of research is showing that, not just Christian research. Like secular research is showing
so
this.
Spend some time, look into it, but ladies, be very insistent. There's really no excuse for it. It harms a relationship just as much as someone who has a gambling problem or a drinking problem.
And I think it is something that a lot of guys do struggle with on and off. So like, what would you say about that? Like if there's a guy who like occasionally struggles with looking at porn.
If your life partner comes to you and says, hey, I'm having trouble with this and I'm really sorry, but I did look at porn last week, and it's something that they're working through, they have a mentor that they're working through with that, God can provide a lot of healing for that. And I think that's great. It's just the common cultural perception is, I'm a man, of course I look at porn. Like it's not a big deal. And that's not healthy.
And porn is something that girls struggle with too. I think 30% of girls struggle with porn. So if that is a struggle that you have, again, there's no shame in this. Like every struggle that we experience, we're not the only ones who experience it. And there's no need to feel shame about this, but you can start to get help now and start to work through it now. Because I think it's easy to think, oh, once I get married, then all my struggles are going to be solved. Like my struggle with lust or pornography will just go away.
Or spending money or eating the wrong things.
Yeah, or anything, or being lonely. And those issues are issues of the heart. So a change in your circumstances does not make them go away. Like for a little bit of time, you might not struggle as much, but in the end, it's going to come back up in some way. And sometimes it resurfaces as in a different form, but that same heart issue will come up again. And so it's something that is good to start dealing with now and working through right now instead of waiting till later.
If you've had sex and you're like, wow, that was wrong, there is no need to feel shame about that.
Yeah.
There's forgiveness for that. There's a lot of perception, especially if you grew up in a conservative Christian church. Sex is just like such a huge issue. You know, honestly, to God, all sins, all mistakes are the same. In God's eyes, it's no different than if you have had struggled with hatred or gluttony. All of those things are sins. They're abuses of a good thing, but there's no need to feel shame. The devil uses shame to entrap you and make you feel like you're worthless and God doesn't love you, and nothing could be farther from the truth.
Yeah, and if you want to hear more about that, I actually did a video called Sex When You Want to Wait Again. So if you're in that place, check it out. It's linked right up there. So girls, I would love to hear your thoughts on all these things. And if you have questions, as always, feel free to email me at tiffanydawn@tiffanydawn.net. And it does take me a while to respond sometimes because I suck at keeping up with my emails.
Well, there's a lot of people that write in.
That's true. And I try to really give long responses.
That's true.
So
they're
it
worth
takes me a while. Yeah. But anyway, feel free to write in. I would love to hear from you and talk with you more about this. Or we can do more videos on this too, if that's something that's of interest to you guys. So thanks for being with us today, and I can't wait to hear what you think of this video. Hopefully it wasn't too much information. Sometimes I don't filter well, so we'll see. Love you guys.
Bye.
You are the one I